Historical context and law enforcement efforts. La Puente 13, also known as LP13, is a street gang based in La Puente, California, within the San Gabriel Valley region of Los Angeles County. As part of the Sureños, Southerners, network, the gang aligns itself with the Mexican Mafia, a powerful prison gang. Origins and formation. Founding. La Puente 13 emerged in the mid-20th century as a local street gang. Like many other gangs in the region, it was initially formed as a neighborhood-based group to protect members from rival gangs. Name. The 13 in the gang's name signifies its affiliation with the Mexican Mafia, as M is the 13th letter of the alphabet. Evolution and influence. Originally formed as the Bridgetown Gentlemen around 60 years ago, Puente 13 has since grown to include over a dozen cliques loyal to the Mexican Mafia. The gang's influence spans La Puente, the San Gabriel Valley, and neighboring cities such as Hacienda Heights, Walnut, and West Covina. Growth and activities. Expansion. Over the decades, La Puente 13 has significantly increased its numbers and influence, establishing itself as one of the dominant gangs in the San Gabriel Valley. The gang is notorious for its involvement in various criminal activities, including drug trafficking, extortion, robbery, and violent crimes. Rivalries. La Puente 13 has numerous rivalries with other gangs, such as Bassett Grande, Little Hill Gang, Townsmen 13, Valinda Flats, West Covina 13, Azusa 13, and many other Hispanic gangs. These rivalries often lead to violent confrontations, contributing to ongoing gang violence in the area. Criminal activities. The gang's criminal enterprises have evolved over the years. Drug trafficking remains a significant source of income, with members involved in the distribution of narcotics such as methamphetamine, cocaine, and marijuana. Cliques. La Puente 13 comprises many cliques, including Blackwood, Dial Boulevard, Perth, Ballista, Rama Street, Hurley Street, and several others. Members of Puente 13 are involved in the distribution of narcotics, particularly methamphetamine, according to the indictment, which also alleges that leaders of the gang extort drug dealers by collecting taxes, the payment of which allows drug dealers to operate in gang-controlled territory. The RICO conspiracy count in the indictment alleges a series of specific overt acts, including the murder of a rival gang member who was punished for collecting taxes on behalf of Gonzalez without Gonzalez's knowledge, several stabbings designed to deter victims from cooperating with law enforcement, and numerous instances in which gang members possessed firearms and narcotics for sale. Law enforcement crackdown. Since 2008, federal investigations into Puente 13 have led to multiple indictments and the conviction of approximately 60 members and associates. These efforts have resulted in significant seizures of firearms, methamphetamine, and cash. The coordinated law enforcement operations have involved the Drug Enforcement Administration, DEA, the Los Angeles Sheriff's Department, and other local and federal agencies. These efforts have been crucial in disrupting the gang's activities and reducing their influence in the region. Crackdowns. La Puente 13 has been the target of numerous law enforcement operations aimed at curbing their activities. Federal, state, and local agencies have conducted raids, made arrests, and pursued prosecutions to disrupt the gang's operations. Incarceration. Many of the gang's leaders and members have been incarcerated over the years. Despite these efforts, the gang has shown resilience, often adapting and continuing their activities even after significant crackdowns. Brothers who led Mexican Mafia-backed Puente 13th Street gang sentenced to life in prison as a result of federal racketeering case. Los Angeles. Two leading figures of the Puente 13 criminal street gang, with deep ties to the Mexican Mafia prison gang, were sentenced to life in federal prison following their convictions on federal racketeering charges. These charges included orchestrating brutal attacks to intimidate victims and plotting murders against rival gang members. This high-profile case marks a significant victory in the ongoing battle against organized crime in Southern California. Key figures and sentencing. Rafael Cisco Muñoz Gonzalez, 42, a prominent member of the Mexican Mafia and a longtime leader of Puente 13, received his life sentence from United States District Judge A. Howard Matz. Rafael's brother, Cesar Blanco Muñoz Gonzalez, 38, of Roland Heights, was also sentenced to life in prison by Judge Matz, solidifying the crackdown on the gang's leadership. Federal charges and convictions. The Gonzalez brothers were convicted in December by a federal jury on multiple counts, including violations of the Racketeer-Influenced Corrupt Organizations (RICO) Act. Their charges encompassed violent crimes in aid of racketeering, conspiracy to distribute methamphetamine, illegal possession of firearms, and other serious offenses. Among the crimes, Rafael Munoz Gonzalez ordered a vicious attack on a cooperating witness in a federal jail, resulting in the victim being stabbed 22 times and suffering severe injuries including a punctured lung and a fractured skull. Gang activities and influence. Evidence from the trial revealed the extensive criminal activities of Puente 13, particularly in narcotics distribution. The gang manufactured and distributed significant quantities of methamphetamine, extorted drug dealers, and collected taxes to permit drug operations within their territory. Cesar Munoz Gonzalez played a crucial role while his brother was incarcerated, trafficking large amounts of methamphetamine and enforcing the gang's control over drug territories by asserting their operations were protected by Cisco. The Gonzalez brothers' racketeering activities brought them substantial wealth, including cash, luxury cars, and custom boats. The federal investigation, which began in early 2008, culminated in a racketeering indictment filed on June 2, 2010, leading to their eventual sentencing. Other key convictions. Alongside the Gonzalez brothers, 2 other Puente 13 leaders were convicted and sentenced. Abraham Listo Aldana, 30, received a 27-year sentence for his role in collecting tax payments and facilitating violent crimes post his release from Pelican Bay State Prison. Michael Mikey Torres, 43, was sentenced to 25 years for his involvement in narcotics trafficking and racketeering. 4 of the defendants in the federal racketeering case are eligible for the death penalty because of their involvement in the 2006 murder of the rival gang member who was collecting taxes without authorization. Those defendants are Rafael Munoz Gonzalez, also known as Cisco, 40, of La Puente, the Mexican mafia member who allegedly controls Puente 13. Cesar Munoz Gonzalez, also known as Blanco, 36, of Roland Heights, Rafael Gonzalez's brother and allegedly the Mexican mafia member's top lieutenant. Steven Nunez, also known as Flaco, 30, who is currently a state prisoner. And Angel Frank Torres, also known as Smiley, 34, who is currently a state prisoner. The remaining 13 defendants face either life without parole in federal prison or prison sentences of up to 20 years if they are convicted of the charges in the indictment. Investigation into Puente 13 street gang leads to federal narcotics, fraud, and identity theft charges against 17 defendants. August 15, 2018, Los Angeles federal authorities have arrested 12 individuals on federal narcotics and fraud charges following an investigation into the Puente 13th Street gang. These arrests are part of a larger operation that has resulted in indictments against 17 defendants for offenses including narcotics, bank fraud, and aggravated identity theft. 5 of the defendants were already in custody. The Drug Enforcement Administration, DEA, and the United States Secret Service, USSS, led the investigation, which involved wiretaps revealing criminal activities among gang members and associates. The defendants face charges in 12 indictments and 1 criminal complaint for crimes such as drug trafficking, firearm possession, bank fraud, and identity theft. The investigation started with Puente 13 member Victor Ponce de Leon, who was allegedly involved in drug trafficking. One indictment details a drug deal where Ponce de Leon sold methamphetamine while armed with a 9mm handgun. Authorities also uncovered an identity theft ring, with multiple defendants found possessing stolen credit cards and personal information. Additionally, a scheme to smuggle narcotics into the Pitches Detention Center in Castaic was exposed. Ricky Lee Thornburg, a Puente 13 member, planned to distribute methamphetamine smuggled into the jail. The scheme was thwarted when law enforcement intercepted drugs concealed in plastic straws. The 17 defendants charged are Victor Ponce de Leon aka Dopey, 26, La Puente, conspiracy to distribute methamphetamine, firearm possession, bank fraud, identity theft, and possession of stolen mail. James W. Butcher, 54, Covina, agreed to purchase methamphetamine for redistribution. Ricky Lee Thornburg aka Shorty, 39, Glendora. Smuggling narcotics into pitches, methamphetamine distribution, and firearm possession. Beatrice Gomez, 39, Glendora. Supplied narcotics for smuggling and possessed an access device reader, encoder. Patricia Marie Jimenez, 32, La Puente. Attempted to smuggle narcotics, possessed counterfeit currency, unauthorized access devices, and stolen mail. Melody Basie, 38, San Bernardino. Possessed methamphetamine, counterfeit access devices, and an access device maker. Joseph Anthony Castro, 37, Azusa. Possessed heroin, counterfeit access devices, committed identity theft, and possessed counterfeit currency. Matthew Burciaga aka Porky, 32, La Puente. Possessed an access device reader, encoder. Yvonne Marie Estrada, 35, Covina. Possessed methamphetamine with intent to distribute. Maribel Gomez, 25, Azusa. Committed bank fraud, identity theft, and possessed methamphetamine. Elizabeth Joyce McDowell aka Lily, 23, West Covina. Conspired to commit bank fraud and committed identity theft. Priscilla Tells aka Baby Doll, 31, La Puente. Conspired to commit bank fraud and committed identity theft. David Ortega aka No, 23, Hacienda Heights. Possessed unauthorized access devices, committed identity theft, and possessed stolen mail. Ulysses Ramon Soto aka Uli, 36, Whittier. Felon in possession of a firearm and ammunition, unauthorized access devices, identity theft, and device-making equipment. Thomas Arellava, 34, Azusa. Unauthorized access devices, identity theft, possession of identification documents, device-making equipment, stolen mail, and firearm and ammunition possession. Edward Padilla aka Spunks, 24, Chino Hills. Felon in possession of firearms and ammunition. Ruby Escarchega, 22, Chino Hills. Aided and abetted a felon in possession of firearms and ammunition. The 12 defendants arrested are scheduled for arraignment in the United States District Court in Los Angeles. The other 5 defendants will be arraigned in the near future. Those convicted of narcotics offenses face mandatory minimum sentences of 5 years, with maximum sentences of 40 years. Fraud offenses carry varying penalties, with bank fraud carrying up to 30 years and aggravated identity theft mandating a consecutive 2-year sentence. The investigation received significant support from the Glendora and Culver City Police Departments. The cases are being prosecuted by Assistant United States Attorneys Scott M. Lara, William M. Rollins, Veronica M. A. Alegria, Julia S. Cho, and Sarah B. Milstein of the General Crimes Section. Recent indictments and arrests. A recent 22-count indictment returned by a federal grand jury on June 2 resulted in the arrest of 8 individuals linked to Puente 13. The indictment accused the gang of violent crimes and methamphetamine trafficking to fund the Mexican mafia. Key defendants, including Rafael and Cesar Munoz Gonzalez, face life without parole or severe prison sentences. The investigation was a collaborative effort involving the DIA, Los Angeles Sheriff's Department, and multiple law enforcement agencies. Violent drug gangs continue to wreak havoc within our communities, said DIA Special Agent in Charge Timothy J. Landrum. Today's arrests send the message that law enforcement will continue to work together to take back our neighborhoods and get violent drug traffickers and gangs off our streets. Those taken into custody this morning will begin making their initial appearances this afternoon in United States District Court in Los Angeles. In addition to the 8 arrested this morning, 7 defendants were already in custody. Authorities are continuing to search for 2 defendants named in the RICO indictment: Adrian Rodriguez, also known as Trips, 25, of Huntington Park, and Henry Rick Zabala, 40, of La Puente. This case is the result of an investigation conducted by the Drug Enforcement Administration and the Los Angeles Sheriff's Department. In addition to the agencies that conducted the investigation, several law enforcement agencies assisted in this morning's takedown, including the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms and Explosives, the United States Marshals Service, the Pomona Police Department, the Baldwin Park Police Department, the Laverne Police Department, the Montebello Police Department, the El Monte Police Department, the Huntington Beach Police Department, the Gardena Police Department, the Southgate Police Department, and the Los Angeles Interagency Metropolitan Police Apprehension Crime Task Force, LA Impact. The concerted efforts of federal and local law enforcement agencies highlight the ongoing commitment to dismantling organized crime networks like Puente 13, protecting communities from their pervasive influence. Current status. Modern era. Today, La Puente 13 continues to be an active and influential gang in the San Gabriel Valley. While law enforcement efforts have made some impact, the gang remains a persistent presence in the area. Community impact. The gang's activities have had a profound effect on the local community, contributing to crime and violence. Efforts to combat gang influence often include community outreach and prevention programs aimed at providing alternatives for at-risk youth. Cultural influence, identity and symbols. Like many gangs, La Puente 13 has developed its own identity, with specific symbols, tattoos, and graffiti used to mark territory and signify membership. The number 13 and references to La Puente are commonly seen in their markings. Media and perception. The gang's activities and the violence associated with them have been depicted in various forms of media, contributing to the public perception of gang life in Southern California. Understanding the history and impact of gangs like La Puente 13 is crucial for addressing the broader issues of crime and violence in affected communities.